Hello and welcome to another episode of Vanilla City Skylines, where we are building the city of Minoqua Bay. Last episode we worked on building out the historic colonial village using our European assets as well as the cathedral. Today's episode we are going to work on alleviating some of our traffic issues that you can see we have a massive bottleneck right here. And the way that we are going to fix this is we are going to turn this into a highway rather than having it be a collector road that feeds over here into the colonial village. In addition to that, we're going to expand out our train network, or actually start our train network rather, and make sure that we are connecting this industrial area, our first industrial area, and we eventually are going to place a cargo hub right around this area to service what we can combine between our farming and our forestry industry, which, if we look at our unique factories, I don't believe there is one. Paper and plastic, crops and glass, that's from the ore industry. Animal crops and plastic, crops, paper, petroleum, animal flour, paper, and plastic, then plain timber, plastic, glass, metals. Yeah. So we're not going to be able to combine all of that today, which is fine, but we will eventually come over here to start our ore industry, where we will probably need to create a new interstate exit, which we can probably create right here and then start to move some of this stuff up into the mountains. So let's go ahead and get started. First thing I'm going to do so that we can get an accurate grid is I'm going to come in. I'm going to rip out some of this infrastructure that I put in off camera just to see the functionality of the city once it was connected. And it created, as you can tell, a lot of traffic. So I'm also going to come in and delete these pedestrian streets that I pulled in as well. And that should cause these buildings to abandon as soon as we restart the simulation. I also want to rebuild that water tower that I just got rid of. I'm going to place it over here next to our orange groves just because that's non-pollutive. And we don't want our water tower to be anywhere near polluted soil. Very nice. So we're going to continue ripping out this infrastructure right here. And then unpause that so that all of that will start despawning. We also want to come in and dezone it as well. And you see it is making a fit. This is basically saying that it does not have a garbage service point, and the businesses will also make a fuss about not having a cargo service area point as well. So let's delete that right quick, and we're going to rebuild it. What I want to do is I want to come out by a specific amount. So we're going to come out the full 10 there. Then I'm only going to come out 5 here. And we're going to build... let's just start with a one-lane road with grass. It's going to be the same size. I may change the number of lanes later on. But the point is that it's one of the small roads. What we're going to do is we're going to come over to our Parks and Plazas tab. And we actually had unlocked our large pedestrian area service point, which apparently we need to come out a little bit further for. That's fine. So we'll come out, let's say, I think by a distance of 480, that should do the trick. Let's make sure that that is the correct amount. Nope, still not. We could do that, but we also would still need to have this service point, which that's too far in for. And I think I know what's happening. I believe because I was deleting it, it was coming up a little further than I was anticipating. So yeah, I'm gonna do that, the full 10 out from whatever that is, and I'm gonna place 2 of our large pedestrian area service points right next to it. And next I'm going to come with the pedestrian area path just to frame it. Actually, may not even want to do that. Let's use about a park life path just to frame around it, which I think we can actually do better. Hold on. So we know we need an extra tile here in order to get the ability to wrap around this with a pedestrian road. I'm going to do the same thing, come out by there. And instead of doing that, let's start with a large glass roof plaza. Do we want that there? Do we want it here? I feel like that looks better. And now we'll come in with our pedestrian road. We'll use grass this time. And we'll have that flank either side of this plaza that we just built. I'm going to come in with the large service point on either side. And we will need to extend out the area, the pedestrian area, just a tiny little bit. Of course, we're also going to want to trim it a little bit. So that we only have the pedestrian area, the true pedestrian area, painted out. We may come in later. We'll just see how our zoning ends up looking. Jeez. Why is that so awful? It's like, even without road guidelines being used, it's truly awful on this side. Not sure why. Let's see if we can get that fixed. Come back in with this. Yeah, we still have a little bit of fractured zoning right there. It's ever so slightly noticeable, but that's still much better. If we unpause this, that should allow those annoying pop-ups to go away. So now what I want to do is I want to think about what kind of public transit we're going to have servicing this area. So I know for a fact that I want this to be either a large or a medium road. So bring that out by distance of, say, 2,400. And I know in this area we're going to want to have a bus intercity bus hub. Absolutely massive asset, and this will help alleviate some of the car traffic that we've been getting from tourists. We'll just come by and frame that in. And we also want to make sure that we are supplying other methods of transit. We have a monorail and bus hub. That could be interesting. But I don't want to have the monorail right there. And I'm not entirely sure if we're going to use monorail or not in this city. We will just kind of see as we go. What about not an elevated train station, but an elevated metro station with shops? Or even better, we can come into our content creator pack and use the elevated bypass metro station. Which we probably won't be able to use the tree roads in that circumstance, but you know, it's something that just adds to the framing of the entrance to this area. So I'll continue out, say just by a distance of 20 tiles. And that's not going to line up very nicely at all. But what we can do is we can come in with some park life paths to help us frame this out. And we can come in... do we want to use oak trees? Or maybe let's use the horse chestnut. We'll have 5 of them just in a semi-straight line. Right alongside that. And that will still leave us plenty of space for some zoning of high-density commercial. So now let's check where the district is. We want to erase this so that we can start getting in the vanilla assets to come up against this wall. And we are also going to make sure that this district does not extend past the flood wall that we built as a kind of frame. And one thing that we are also going to want to do for this area, because I would imagine that it's going to need quite a bit of cargo. What we can do is we can come in with a cargo rail station. I wonder, can we fit? Yes, we can. We absolutely can fit a little rail right along the back of this. So let's come off of all of our snapping except for angle. Let's see how far it'll let us come. So that's about the extent that we can get. And that's totally fine. What we're really going for is just a kind of decoration. And we'll come in with our vanilla path, snapping to grid and road length. And just fill this in with concrete. And where we won't be able to do it, we'll come in with our horse chestnut, just along the back in a straight line. Just to kind of help decorate this asset. There, I think that looks very nice. So now we also need to plan for there to be And I don't think I'm going to use passenger rail in this situation. I don't think this is going to be a major area, because you want to consider passenger rail is connecting large portions of the city. So I would maybe want to have something out here in Riverside that connects me to the downtown, which that actually could be a good spot. We'll see. Thing is, those assets, well, let's see. Let's see if it'll fit. So come into our content creator pack and just kind of see what elevated train stations we have available. And we have the elevated bypass could be an option. Elevated dual island. Don't want to use elevated island. Of course, the historical train station. We also have just a regular elevated train station. Let's see what it looks like. Yeah, I mean, I think it adds quite a bit to this area, so I think what we will do, let's take a look and see how much room we have over here. Looks like we have just enough room to squeeze a tiny little road between. And maybe use... no. So we can use a vanilla path, but we can't use a park path. Okay, I'll pretend that that makes sense. So let's come with our metro. We'll just hook it across the road. And then we'll come with our train. The same spot. Appears that it wants to come lower. But will that allow us to have a road under it? That is the question. It appears that it will. Okay. So we'll just have to deal with the fact that these are at completely different heights. I don't believe... have we unlocked the Old Market Street station yet? Because I believe that's going to be the main hub that we end up using. And no, we have not. We will unlock that at 14,000. Oh well, we can fix that later. So alongside this, we are going to want to use, again, some high density commercial. We'll come along here and have our same kind of framing idea using the vanilla path, bringing out the metro line to there, and bringing out our train line as well. And then we're just going to take a small road. Which we can actually add some vanilla paths right here as well. Let's come off of road guidelines. We have plenty of vanilla path. A lot of concrete textures we will be getting out of this today. Very nice. So now we want to think about how we're funneling our traffic in the downtown area. And I think it will be best if we use a sort of a one-way system. So we'll have 6-lane one-way here. Make sure that this connects in. And just while we're at it, let's... Actually, hang on. Does this have 6-lane one-way with bike lanes? By chance? Does not. You can get tram tracks, and you can get bicycle lanes, but nothing else. That's fine. So let's come over to our content creator trees, and I think... No, that's not going to work. So underneath our stations, we can use the Pacific rhododendron. Because I think that will be the only thing that is an appropriate height to go under these things. Well, actually, maybe this flowering tree would be nice. In which case, we can just have that be the tree that we use. That'll be fine. I think that will look nice. Very nice. Very nice indeed. So now we also want to think about how much space we really need to frame out for our highways. And I'll show you how we're going to build the highways. So we're going to come approximately 4 tiles out. And that is going to be our 4-lane highway. In the center, we're going to want to have a highway ramp and another highway ramp. And these are going to be used so that we can funnel people off using the left lane and the right lane. And I will show you how we're going to do that. So then after that, we want to make sure we have 4 tiles just to make it symmetrical. And so now we know exactly how far out we need to be, which is a distance of 460 using our dirt roads. Come out, that's 440. Come on. That's 460. Then come back with... Which actually, hold on. A dirt road is not as large as the 6 lane, so we actually are going to want to come out by 480. So still come in and draw this, and we'll fix the direction. So that on this side, everything travels going the opposite direction. So it's functioning almost... It's kind of like a slip road off of the highway. Cool. So now what we're going to do is within these dirt roads... Going to get rid of this highway. And now I'm going to set this to the highest brush strength with a medium brush and right click 1, 2, 3 times. And that should be the correct depth for our highway so that we can build directly over it using pedestrian paths and roads. So the first area that we will have a bridge is right here. And we will come to our content creator pack and let's see. Do we want to use a European stone bridge, maybe? It's not the correct depth. Or maybe it will be. Oh, that is absolutely ugly. And I bet what we didn't do was make sure that this is level. Because it's not level. I knew it, I knew it, I knew it. Alright. So we're going to select this height just to make sure that everything is nice and level. Even though it actually drops over here as well. How is it that the height increased over here? Ever so gradually. Let's pull off a little bit of that. Make sure that this is absolutely level. And we're only making sure that it's absolutely level up against the highway. I think, you know, just based on what I was seeing, I think it might be a good idea to extend how far out we go by a couple of tiles. That way we have room for our bridges to have a pillar. So let's come around again. And then fix this into our one-way system. And that really doesn't matter. So we'll come flatten this out. And I think we are going to want to come down just a tiny little bit. I'm going to click, right click on the second tier, and I think that is how far we are going to want to come with our bridge. But before I go ahead and flatten all of this out, let's check it and make sure. So I'm going to come back. And maybe here we'll use the American Truss Bridge instead. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, that is completely level. Cool. So that'll be a bridge, and we are not going to have the interstate connect at this point. Alright, so let's come here. We will have the highway there. Right next to the highway we have our exit ramp. We will do this, try to mirror it as best as we can on this side. May not be perfect, but we will get as close as we can. Just to check our distances. Alright. So we're going to delete both sides of that bridge. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come, let's see if that will line it up. No, it won't. That's fine. What we can do is we can just come out on angle snap. Try to align this directly in the center. And now you can see this bridge is directly centered, or the pillar is directly centered between the two exit ramps. And here what we can do is we can come in with some of our trees the horse chestnuts. Which I don't know why I've just suddenly fallen in love with these, because they're not particularly tropical, but you know, I think they really they work for me. Very nice. That is very nice indeed. So now let's just extend out the highway. We'll come back to our snapping. Snapping is going to do us wonders here. So what we want to do, actually I think what we'll do is we'll split this into a 3-lane. Just hear me out on this. So we'll have a 3-lane there. We'll have a 2-lane here. Or we can have a 4-lane and a 2-lane. That also works, I guess. You know, if City Skylines will let you have 6 lanes, why not? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna come out by 10, up by 2, out by 10, up by 2. What's gonna happen here is we're gonna split this so that we have, we're gonna wanna come off of literally every kind of snapping to make this happen. Come here, curve across the highway, and into the 6-lane road. On that side, come up 4 elevation steps, make sure we are level. And just come to a road guideline, I guess, just to see where we're at. Of course, it really doesn't matter. And here we are going to do the same thing. And curve across the highway. And oh my gosh. Look at that absolutely gorgeous terraforming. Let's see if we can fix that. There we go. That doesn't look too horrible now. So now, let's see if we can get these to connect in. Of course we can, but this one is looking a little on the atrocious side. Which I think we can fix by just coming out on angle. So that now we're focusing on having this basically split off into our one-way system. So that if you are wanting to, and I think this is probably where we're going to place our university, is right around here. So people exiting the highway to come to the university are going to get into this 2-lane slip and exit off. People who are coming in to the downtown over here are going to exit on this side. So now we're going to build out that same concept on this other side. So we can get rid of this. We don't really need the guide anymore. We'll use our snap 2s here as well. Let's come out by a distance of 3,000. And then just place a guide road in. Level this out. sell some soil. We're gonna come here with our one-way highway. Out 10 up 2. Out 10 up 2. And then continue this 4-lane highway with the sound barriers on both sides. I think here, we will definitely be breaking the principle of lane mathematics here, which I think it'll be fine. So it'll basically force the traffic AI to think, okay, if I'm getting off, I need to be in the left lane. Which we can also alleviate on this other side, which I'll show you right quick as soon as we get through this. So again, extend this out just to match it with that, and it'll be fine. And we are going to come off all of our snapping. 1, 2, 3, 4. Cross the highway and hook in. And then just hook in like that. And then hook in over here. Let's come to angle snap just temporarily, so that we have some sort of a guide with our curve. And we'll come over here and flatten this out a little bit. Very nice. And you can see where it is also helping us space out where the interstate exit and entrance is. So now we're just going to come across and flatten this out on both sides. Not by that much, though. And I believe we will look at flooding this area just temporarily with water, so that we can get some city keys built in. And let's also make sure that our directions are correct for all of this. Cool. So now that we've got that, now I want to focus on, we're going to rip out these power lines just temporarily. We're going to rip out this highway interchange as well. Just leave the bridge so that we know exactly where we're wanting it. Come in, get rid of that. And we're going to build our first cargo train station for our industrial area. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to come out by a distance of 180. Relocate our geothermal energy plant. Let's come out a little bit more so that we can frame this asset a little bit better. And we'll hug alongside this. Let's see, so we need about 6 tiles, so maybe about there. So now let's come and flatten this out. What we're going to do is we're going to curve into this so that it has a little bit smoother of a feeder connection. That should be fine. Alright, so now we're going to place down the cargo train terminal. Get rid of that extra road. We're going to line it up directly on where this intersection is, so that people can just drive directly into the station. Or at least they theoretically should be able to do that. We'll see if that actually ends up happening or not. Let's come in with some of our parkway plazas, or our whatchamacallit, plazas and promenades plazas. And I think we'll use a couple of small fountain plazas, framed with some park life paths. And a few horse chestnut trees along the side. And maybe even a park life fence. So I think maybe we want to move these trees over a tiny, tiny little bit. Just a little bit. So that they're more centered between the path and the fence that we put in. Nice. So behind this, we want to have a train line. This train line is going to be what connects the forestry industry over to our cargo hub. This one is going to connect our cargo hub to the airport. And this one is going to hook from the airport into our pedestrian area. So let's come out a little bit. Just bring this out a little, I guess. By 2.5, let's say. That should be a sensible enough curve. And this is just so that we know, okay, this is where this train line belongs. We'll also have a train line here. And we're going to hook it in. This will be from the cargo hub to the cargo train station right here. So now let's extend these train lines out a little bit. Let's turn off road guidelines just temporarily, because that gets annoying really quickly. Actually, we'll probably want to have it about this far out so that we can get a good enough curve set up. Let's see. Yeah, we're going to want to come out a little bit more. So let's get rid of that straight piece. So that we can have a nice sweeping curve over here into the cargo train terminal. And then we'll just extend this out, and we will most definitely have to rip it out at some point when it intersects with our highway. Which, speaking of, I think we're probably not going to have a highway intersection right here. I think it may be best, because now that we're going to have this be a dedicated highway loop, along with this, I think we're going to let them meet up a little bit later. And that will be where these people will have access via the highway to the airport. So let's come in. I'm going to flatten at this height and come across right here. Let's try to remember who goes where. This line is going to come out all the way, and it will go to the airport. This line comes out all the way, goes to the airport. And it might even be a good idea. I don't know, what do we think about having this also extend out to the airport? Maybe. We'll see. But this, for sure, is not extending to the airport, and we're going to have this hit at this road guideline instead. So I think what I'll do, since this middle one does not go to the airport, but this one right here does, I think what we'll do is we will... decisions. Let's extend this out, make sure that it's hitting the road guideline like it needs to. Let's see. We do need to have the highway come across this railway trench that we just built. So let's bring this out a little bit. Let's see here, we have 4 lanes of highway. I'm going to want to come up by 3 elevation steps. Probably about there should do the trick. Then move down to be down by 1 right there. And that's not too steep of a curve for a highway. Come here, extend that, which we may want to look into that, because that very clearly is not going to work. So here, let's get rid of this bridge temporarily. Gonna upgrade this bridge into 4-lane. We're going to come across and just make sure that we hit all of the pillars. Oh, picky. So we will come over by another tile. This appears to be a distance of 20. Distance of 20. Distance of 10. So now we have our bridge across the bay. And now we just want to connect this into our existing highway. think what we'll do is we're going to bring this. Which should... Alright, so we'll come down about that far with the elevation. Okay, so that'll be approximately enough. For us to have a not ridiculous curve. And of course that's supposed to go that direction. Alright, so now we have the highway built in. Now we want to focus on getting our rail finished. Let's see where it is. About right there. It will not... Oh, well that's why it won't let us go up like that. That also is another compelling reason. So now we're going to have the rail come up by 2. Or actually, maybe it would be better if these rails instead started to elevate. So we're going to come up, out 10, up 2. Out 10. Yeah, that looks a little unreasonable. So let's first, I guess we're going to prioritize the fact that this needs to, first off, stay level. And we can landscape a little bit of this out if we need to, which we probably will. Let's bring this. We're going to curve it like that. And in the meantime, this can flow just straight across, uninterrupted. Come out and check and make sure that this is level. That appears to be about as close as we're going to get. There we go, that'll work. Now we're just going to come out in distances of 10 across the bay. And then out by 12 to finish. Let's make sure that we have a level landing pad for both sides. It appears that we need to come up ever so slightly on this side. Let's check it out. Yeah, there's a slight difference in the gradient there. But I don't think it's really noticeable, and it's not something that's gonna... if it was a real train, I don't think it would really affect it that much. This, on the other hand, I think this is going to be tricky. So let's come up by 1 on each of the elevations. And it should... First, let's get that. Let's see what it's doing. So there's about where it wants to be. We just want to make sure that this is a straight bridge. Come out in a distance of 20. And now let's make sure that it comes out at a level pad. Just like that. And we will definitely change the elevation once we get to the airport, because an airport area has to be completely and totally flat. So what we'll do is we'll paint the airport area out at this level that this set of trains is coming in at. And that should be fine. So this is just the basics of, you know, the guiding principles that I have while I'm building out this massive infrastructure. So what I'm going to do, just to keep this from being a 4-hour episode, I'm just going to continue building this out, and we can detail this in a later episode. thank you all so much for watching. If you haven't already, please go ahead and like and subscribe below. This is part 1 of hopefully only 2 episodes of us focusing on how to massively expand our infrastructure. And I'm definitely going to, we're definitely thinking about roadway hierarchy here, where the highway is going to be intersecting with what is going to be our arterial road, which is only going to intersect with collector roads. These collector roads will then intersect with these local roads. And in a downtown area, we're treating it exactly like we would for an industrial area where everything is a one-way flow system. And we will also be helping to encourage bicycle traffic. And we are also definitely going to work on getting the connections made, because as you can see, with this being the only connection we have, it creates massive lines of traffic, even though, and I still will never understand why the game does not want to use that second lane, but it is what it is. And hopefully in a couple of episodes we can hit 14,000 population, and we will be placing our College of Liberal Arts right here. And I think this could really be a good place to have one of our main buildings, just as a focal point across the highway, as it looks at a focal point across into the downtown and into our colonial village. Very nice. And we also will definitely work on getting this highway connected up here as well, and probably, like I said, flood this area with water. Maybe get one more connection in from the highway and start to fill out some of these areas. This one will probably end up getting filled out with forestry, just because, there's not a whole lot of road development that I think we can reasonably get done over here. So we'll let this just be some green space. But over here we can definitely look into developing the land a little bit. Maybe even bring in a unique building over here. Just something to help fill out the space. And now enjoy a brief city tour.